Hey folks, thanks for tuning into the latest episode of Vinyl and Vision. This is another special bonus episode with my special guests, Chris and Jennifer Daltry. Chris and Jennifer are the founders of What Cheer Records and Antiques, and the founders of the Rock and Roll Yard Sale, which will be happening this weekend, July 24th, from 1 to 6. It's an absolutely free event. It's just an open-air marketplace full of a bunch of unique vendors, and I will be included in that. So I'm actually very honored to be part of this event, and very much looking forward to it. Just to let you know, we will actually also be recording this podcast there on site. I have a small mobile setup, and I will be asking people who are going to be flipping through the records, looking through a bunch of music to see if they find something that maybe intrigues them to share a story. And I figured that'd be a kind of cool little thing to do, aside from just being there to selling the records. So this discussion is going to be a very short one. It's only about half an hour, and it's basically Chris and Jennifer discussing the beginnings of this event and where they started, how they started this around 2004, and what it has grown into. So just listen up. I hope you enjoy it. The song that you're listening to right now is actually called Language of America. It's a track off of the Mericans' 2011 album, So Late It Hurts. At the end of the episode, I will be playing another song off that album called Skyfall. And both, I thought it would be fitting to play a little bit of the songs off that record, because Chris mentions it during our discussion, because his wife Jennifer actually provided the artwork for that album. So I thought it'd be fitting just to let you know what that sounds like. In addition to Americans information, Chris also shares with me that he will be playing with the Americans their very first show since post-pandemic at the Newport Playhouse coming up this Monday, which is I'm not sure of that date offhand, but I will provide you a link in the show notes, so go into the show notes and you can find the link to find tickets for that event. It's an all-star studded cast of a bunch of folk singers, Allison Callery, Dan Blakesey, and a bunch of others that I cannot remember offhand right now, but it sounds like a super cool event to check out if you are interested in doing that. And without further ado, here's the show. Don't threaten me. Don't take anything from the language of all of us. Yeah. Hey, how are you? Nice to see you, Jennifer, Chris.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Wow, you guys have quite a collection right there.
Yeah, that's just part of it. There's another whole wall over here and a wall over here.
Right. Yeah, I actually I had never been there, and I'm sorry I can't be there today, but I ran into you, Chris, once at Salvation Army in North Providence.
Yeah.
And I remember you telling me the story about your record room in one of your apartments.
Yeah, this is a house that we rent in North Providence, but there are records. We try to keep things tidy, but there are always records pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
And we also work out of our house with mail orders. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What Cheer, the store itself had closed in, what was it, 2017, it seems.
Yeah, that seems right.
4 years or so. Yeah.
Right. And so now you just moved everything to doing things online and the occasional in-person thing, like the yard sale.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool. So now, Chris, I'm familiar with you and the music that you've been part of and the bands you've been part of in the history in Providence. Jennifer, I'm not familiar with you as much. What is your relationship to the arts and music scene?
Well, I grew up in Rhode Island, in Bristol, and I went to RISD and graduated in 91. And I moved away for a couple of years to San Francisco, but I moved back and met Chris, and we started collecting things, and then over time started selling them. And so it was just kind of a way in the beginning of making extra money so that we could take time so that Chris could work on music and I could work on art. I'm a visual artist.
Okay.
And so that's kind of our connection
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. And when did you two meet?
1994.
Yeah.
Yeah, the May of 1994.
Cool.
I had moved back to Bristol and was trying to figure out what to do with my life. And I got a job at a ceramic studio in Bristol. And lo and behold, Chris Daltry was working there. So we, a group of us, it was actually a RISD professor, his business that I had at school. And so there was a group of people working there that were musicians and artists, and it was just a very kind of fertile fertile ground for friendships and
relationships.
relationships. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's so cool.
And there's one example of Jennifer and my art kind of colliding is this album of mine.
The Mericans.
Yeah, so this is my band, but the cover art is by Jennifer. So
excellent.
Anyway, so that's sort of what she does and what I do besides the business.
Yeah, so that's your only collaboration aside from doing the business so far.
So far.
Okay.
And life. I mean, we live together, we work together,
right?
We work out of our house together. So
yeah.
But yeah.
And I wanted to ask about What Cheer, because What Cheer is kind of like a historic thing in the city, isn't it? And I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah, it is. Like if it's on the seal of Rhode Island,
right?
On the seal of Providence, Rhode Island, like on police officers' badges, there's a little image of that says "What's your knee top," and it goes back to the founding of Rhode Island. The legend is anyway that when Roger Williams landed here, he had met some friendly native Narragansett Indians, and the phrase "What's your knee top" was uttered, which was a combination of the English expression "What cheer," which is hello.
It's kind of like a how you doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get
and
it.
I've since learned that is still used in England, but they pronounce it "Whatcher."
Yeah.
Like not "What cheer," but "Whatcher."
Whatcher.
Yeah. But yeah, it's in the 1630s. That's where the legend has it. And it's become a very Providence-centered thing with the city using "What cheer" as its kind of slogan, and business. We're not the only business to use its name over the years, but now there are several. And if you look back into old phone books, you'll see car dealerships, ice cream shops, and who knows what else that use the name. So
right. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like I had a class at RISD that was in the "What cheer" garage. And then early when we were dating, Chris audited a class at RISD that was the history of Providence in Rhode Island. And so he became kind of more familiar with that terminology. And there's a kind of a compilation dictionary called The Language of America that was published by Roger Williams. And so there are words like knee top, which is neighbor. And so that's the combination of "What cheer" and knee top.
I see.
Long story short.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. I wanted to understand the history because it's something that I've always been seeing, and I've always kind of been curious and just figured you two would probably be the best couple to ask about it. So, and I was right.
Yeah, I mean, I was a history major at college, and my interest in history grew and kind of expanded into what we wound up doing with our business. So when we were seeking a name, we just wanted something that was very local centric.
Right. Yeah. And I think that nails it. Yeah. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the business and all that, but first, would you mind me asking you about how you are doing? How are you feeling these days?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm feeling okay. I mean, it's definitely a struggle. Sort of the reality is I have like permanent back problems that throughout the rest of my life will probably be there will be attempts to sturdy it and keep keep me upright.
Right.
But it's a degenerative disease, so it's becoming harder to carry records, and it's good that we kind of shifted from retail to working at home, so I don't have to be as physical and in carrying things and whatnot. But it's not the best situation, but I'm trying to make the best of it by with us pushing forward with our event, and also I'm trying to get back to playing music again, which is, it's been a long time since I've been able to do that. So, but yeah, thanks for asking. I mean, it's I've had 3 surgeries now, and one of them was unsuccessful. The most recent one, we'll see. I won't know until the end of the year if it took or not. So it's a kind of a long waiting game, and I don't know. It's to the point where it's become my life in dealing with it, but I'm doing my best to also include other things that are important to me, so it doesn't define me as much.
Right. Well, I'm glad to hear that you're, doing okay for now. Like it's something that you're dealing with every day, and looking on the positive side, at least,
as much as I can.
Yeah, of course. And I'm sure Jen's there to help and support you, and then that's great.
Yes.
And it's good that she's there for you.
Yeah, if I didn't have her, as not only as a life partner, but a business partner, and but just somebody to help me and take care of me through this, I'd be lost.
Right.
So,
yeah, that's very sweet. Yeah, you guys are a very admirable couple. I really love what you guys have. It's very obvious how evident how loving you guys are, and how much involved you are.
So sweet.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's true. I mean, it's what I can observe from the outside, and I think that's great. So,
thanks.
So getting back to the event in hand, the Rock and Roll Yard Sale, this is an annual thing, isn't it?
Yeah. We, until the pandemic hit, we've been doing on average 2 a year, and they're both annual. One is in Providence, and the other is in Somerville, up in the Boston area. So we, for years, have done one in the spring in Providence and one in late summer or early fall in Somerville. And it's been about, well, I don't know, it's been since pre-pandemic. So
yeah, we were supposed to have done one in May, and then May came back around, and the people we collaborated with in downtown Providence weren't ready yet to figure out how to go forward. It was the sort of block party on Westminster Street, and so we were just kind of hoping that some other opportunity would present itself, and amazingly it did. And so the Trinity Beer Garden people reached out to us, and they want to have events there, and we went and scoped it out and realized how great it is. So we're really hoping that it is a good fit for us. And I don't know if we will be able to do the original event again. That'll kind of depend on the other people, but Somerville will be the same. That's going to be in September. We have a date for that, and so that's in Union Square in Somerville.
Oh, great.
So yeah, it's like all of a sudden we have some normal things happening.
Yeah, it's true.
For as long as it lasts,
I mean, have either of you been out since getting vaccinated? Or I mean, obviously, I'm going out for you must be a little difficult. You probably don't want to go to a show and stand up for a few hours, right?
Yeah,
it can be hard. Even though that, like, I really miss live music, and we've gone out to a few shows, and just outdoor things. And I'm playing my first show in probably a few years now, next Monday, in Newport. Ken Abrams, who's a local writer, he has put together a showcase of Rhode Island. He's sort of in a folk genre, like Rhode Island
like singer-songwriter.
Okay.
And there's a show on Monday night at the Newport Playhouse, and it's the Mericans, my band, and Allison Callery, and Dan Blakesley, and it's about 10 different artists.
Jen Long?
The Whale Guitar.
Okay.
So for me, that's exciting. But it's we only took the show because it's an outdoor thing.
And a short set.
Yeah.
Everybody's playing a short set, not
right.
a regular like festival kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
But like, yeah, I miss like being jammed into a club or a, we're both fans of a few artists that we'd like to see live, like Nick Cave and the OCs and stuff like that. Like you get into a crowd and you get this incredible energy and the volume and whatnot, but we're not quite ready for that. But and that's also why, we had some options to do our event indoors, but we waited until something outdoors came just to be on the safe side for us and our vendors' sake and the attendees.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And it's also just nice to be able to take advantage of the outdoor, scene. And that's a great spot, the Trinity Beer Garden. That's in Kennedy Plaza, right?
It's it's right across from the Biltmore Hotel, and it's in between it and the skating rink downtown.
Right. Okay. Yeah, great spot.
Yeah.
So we were talking about how it's a semi-annual event, or it's like a biannual event, once in Providence, once in Somerville. And it started, when did it start?
2004. It was our first one. We had been, I don't know if you want to tell a story, but
we started doing events that weren't our own event, but we started off participating in something called the WFMU record show, which was it was a fundraiser for the radio station WFMU, and a 3-day long record show in this giant, it was called the Metropolitan Pavilion in Manhattan. And it had moved to different locations, but that's where we participated in it. And it was so much fun. Like, we had gone to record shows before, and they're usually just like in veterans halls, and it's just guys out there, just like hovering over their boxes of records. And this was like a fun vibe and DJs, and
there's like punk bands from Japan. I mean, the state, I don't know if you're familiar with WFMU, but it's completely freeform radio, and it was at a school called East Orange University, I think, in northern New Jersey. But the school went away. They just stopped being a school, but the station was so popular, and its DJs wouldn't want it to go away, so they kept the station alive. And this record fair is one way they do it. So this incredible community of dealers come from and buyers come from all over the world. So that was twice a year, and we loved it. It became an important part of our income, besides the store. And then for some reason they stopped doing it twice a year and made it just once a year. So on our car ride home, we were like, oh man, this is such a bummer. Like, what are we going to do? And then we started brainstorming. And by the time we got home, we were like, we're going to do this in Providence. And we contacted a friend of ours who was named Jeffrey Alexander, who was doing a lot of the programming at AS220 back then.
Right.
And this is before AS220, sort of revamped the space and all, but we asked if we could do one there, and we set up on all the rickety cafe tables.
It was very DIY. So, very improvised.
It began as a very very small thing and grew into something. It grew out of that, and that's part of why we do them outdoors now, is because we want to have more vendors than most venues can hold around here.
Right. And so how, in relation to when you guys first started, like that first year to now, how many vendors have you grown to accommodate?
I think it's on average like close to 50.
Yeah, normally,
when we started, it was maybe 12 at that first AS221, and we really wanted it to be just records at first. But then we realized, there aren't that many record dealers locally.
Right.
Not that many were willing to come from Connecticut or Boston or whatever. And we were having a hard time getting vendors. And meanwhile, people who were crafters and vintage people were really, really keen to take part in it. So we decided to little by little, let other elements in. And but we wanted to remain the rock and roll yard sale. So we've always tried to keep that element there, because now there are like a million craft and vintage fairs, and we want to make that what makes us unique. But yeah, at the time there really weren't anything like that happening.
Not in Providence.
And especially with like the trying to make it a fun vibe. And with AS220, they would open the bar that day so people could get a drink and wander around. And so when there's more of an incentive to, stay and just have fun, not just be shopping. That's what we were interested in trying to create. So
that's great. Yeah, well, it was a great idea. I think you guys are doing it very successfully and very well. I mean, I'm looking forward to it myself. I mean, this would be my first year participating, and I just think it's a great opportunity for me. I mean, I'm just a little dude. I'm just a little kind of independent operation here. So, I mean, it's just a great experience, I think, for me.
That's what it's all about. I mean, some of our vendors are very professional, and they do shows like this all weekends, somewhere. But there are also people that, like yourself, or even people that they just have a collection they want to liquidate, so it can be a one-time thing, or people that are just starting. I mean, when we started doing it, we were just starting in a way. We've come a long way with learning about records and stuff since, but so it's not supposed to be people that are pros at it, and what you bring to it is just as important and exciting to us as anyone. So
that's great. So I gotta ask, only because I keep on looking at those records of yours over there. How many do you keep for yourself? Like, how do you delegate what you want to keep and what you are willing to part with?
I don't know how many we have, but it's just mainly what we like. I mean, we started, I guess the collection started with just our own little bits of our own records that we liked. But then Chris's grandfather, who was a jazz musician, passed away and left him his record collection. So it was a lot of jazz, a lot of like vocalists, big band stuff. And so we went down to the Philadelphia area for the funeral and wound up with a whole carload of records. So
that was kind of the start. But because both of us, after college, she had moved to San Francisco, I had moved to New York City to pursue music and art. But at that point, neither of us had hung on to a lot of stuff that we'd had in high school and college. So, when we met, we just started thrifting and flea marketing and picking up records. And then when we started dealing in antiques and vintage, records are always there too. But my grandfather's collection was like this sudden, injection of vinyl. There were, I think, 2,000 records from him.
Wow.
And, some of them were junk that, we didn't keep, but a lot of them, it became kind of an education in those genres, more in the 50s and 60s kind of pop vocal and jazz stuff that we just didn't hear as much of growing up. So and when I used to visit him, when our family would go visit my grandfather, he had this den, and his chairs were set up kind of like this, but in front of a wall of records and books. And that I found that fascinating as a kid. So he had told his wife that when he died, he wanted us to have the records.
Wow. How
so
great.
I think we appreciate them.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I like that idea of that setup thing. It's kind of like little culture corner, in your house. Like that's where you kind of just like sit to and absorb all the education that you didn't get in school.
Totally. This is our education. And when you asked before, like, how do we decide like what to keep or not? It's, as dealers, and it's mostly stuff that I wind up dealing with, but we get collections or we go through stuff in storage, and I just put aside ones that I haven't heard or I don't know anything about that look interesting. So,
or there might be multiple copies of, like, we'll get another copy.
And
we'll pull out ours and we'll compare, and sometimes one is worth more money, and as long as we have like a good playable one, we're not like, in terms of collectors, needing to have the rarest thing,
version,
because we're also that's I
how
guess
we get by.
How we make a living. But then there are things that we're like, oh, I can't possibly part with this one. So
sometimes I'll be like on the computer and the record would be playing, and she'll come in and is like, what's this? So that's part of how we wind up with more and more records.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I don't have any interested party in my household yet that's that's vying for anything that I get, so I luckily can just kind of get rid of it, whatever I want.
Yeah.
So back to the event. So it's going to be happening on Saturday. Looks like the forecast is pretty clear, so we should not have to worry about the rain date.
Yep.
Yeah, if there's a rain date, it's the next day. But in our whole existence, we've only had one rain date, and then there was the pandemic. But we've been very lucky with being able to pull the events off when we'd like. So yeah, we need, if it's a nice day, it's going to be an incredible collection of people and a good time.
Yeah, it seems like people are really, really anxious to get out and do things now. Anything. So it seems like the timing is perfect for us, because the opportunity popped up with a lot less time than we usually have to organize and promote an event. We're usually like almost a year out to when we have a date for something and putting the pieces in place. But we're just kind of rolling with it, and we'll see how it goes. I was flyering today.
Oh yeah.
Old school, and
those beautiful Prince flyers.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
and
great.
Those will be Swamp Yankee, or Pete McPhee, who designed that. He will have silk screened poster versions of those for sale.
Awesome.
At the event as well. So
that's great. I'm going to try to pick one up myself. Hopefully he won't run out.
No, and he's someone that you should talk to. I mean, he's not like a vinyl collector necessarily, but he's been making posters for our event since the very beginning. Our first poster in 2004 was he used Buddy Cianci's face and sort of did the something to do with like the Rock and Roll Yard Sale, but Buddy has a posse or something, and but he's done a music icon for the Rock and Roll Yard Sale ever since.
Right.
And,
I remember seeing some of them over the years. I mean, there was Lou Reed, there was Elvis Costello, and then so many more. Just iconic images, and they were always great. So this year is particularly interesting because it's Prince.
Yeah.
And it looks great. So excited.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you about your vendors. You stated that you have so many coming in. Are there any that are like particularly of interest to you and that might be coming in from out of the state?
We usually get, for this particular event, I believe we'll have about 35 vendors, which is, us being conservative because of COVID, and also we don't know the space as well. So this is a trial run here. but that's still a decent number of vendors. And we don't, it's not like a lot of events, like we don't really curate things necessarily. Like we very rarely turn people away, because we attract the type of vendor that really works well together. But it's always this, like Jennifer was saying before, a mix of records and music and vintage and also handmade stuff. But I just added a vendor to our that came in kind of late, called Cult Party, and I think that their motto was like inclusionist, like feminist witch shop, something like that, from New York.
Okay.
So someone coming in from New York. We've usually have vendors come from like the Worcester area, the Boston area, Western Mass. Our DJ, Studebaker Hawk, is from Western Mass, and he's done our event for, I don't know, between 10 and 15 years. And he's a DJ and a record seller. So he'll be here playing great music, but also selling. He specializes in dance music. So, if you get people that just have a different angle on stuff. Like I noticed, besides your t-shirts, but you put out the Hammer Party record, which I think is great. And we really like those guys. So
thank you. Well, you have a record coming to you.
I'll make sure
to get you one on the weekend.
Reciprocate. So, I don't have the vendor list in front of me, but it's just always a good mix. And really, like I said, it's uncurated, but there's really never been a reason to. Sometimes people have the idea of a flea market or something like, and you'll get vendors selling like knockoff junk and stuff that you see at flea markets, but really we're off their radar. We just, we have a pretty big vendor list, but it's all people kind of like us that get what we do and want to be part of it.
Most people have at least experienced what the event is like, and so they know that it would be a good fit for them. I was
trying to explain it to my wife, because she's a little hesitant herself, a little leery of trying to sell anything of her own, because she makes things herself, but she's never really attempted it before. And I was just like, this is going to be a great little mixed bag. I mean, like the people that are going to be coming are people that kind of intend to go out and find something unique. It's not like they're looking for, they're going to have a shopping list of like, oh, I was really hoping to find this thing. I mean, minus maybe an occasional record. People are going out there just to see what people have and just kind of explore and experiment with things. And I think that's great.
Especially with the vintage element, whether it's vintage records or vintage clothing, it's never going to be the same thing.
Right.
So people that collect that kind of stuff are hoping that, they'll either find, the right garment that happens to be in their size, or that record that they've been searching for their collection.
Right.
So that's, when you have that kind of collecting instinct, these are the kind of sales that you look forward to, because it's not like you're going to see the same craft people that have the same inventory every single time.
It's a total mix, and there is some randomness. I mean, in like the record collecting world, like there is traditionally people that have lists of what they're looking for, and they go out to like record stores and record shows, trying to fill in the gaps. But I think our crowd always is a little different. It's just whatever they kind of happen upon.
Right. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, we're excited.
Me too. I'd like to thank you guys for taking the time and speaking with me about this event. Really looking forward to it. Thank you for also allowing me to participate. I'm super excited.
Our pleasure.
No, yes. And we're looking forward to seeing what you and your wife bring.
I still got to do a little convincing, but I hope that we're going to have a few things at least from her. I know what I'm bringing. I have a lot of records. I have tons of 45s too. I don't know if you like those, but
Well, now that we DJ, like that's another little side business of ours, is we DJ. And I was never a fan of 45s. I just didn't see the point of them until we started to DJ. And now I'm like, oh, now I get it. It's so much easier to just play a single than try to search for the groove in a, a regular LP.
That's true.
So I have come around to seeing the value of them. But yeah, there are people that are really serious collectors of 45s. And hopefully our mailing list reaches out to them and they come by on Saturday.
Yeah. Is there anything that I'm forgetting? Is there anything we didn't touch on?
Well, just, it's a free event, and, it's very open and inclusive, and it'll be us and our partner for the event, who is hosting us, the Trinity Beer Garden. It's from 1 to 6. They'll have Trinity will have like cocktails and drinks and whatnot. So they've also reached out to some of the downtown restaurants to see if they'd want to come and do kind of pop-ups. So I don't have a list in front of me, but I know one of them is called Nicoletta's, I believe, who does Italian and Italian ice. Nicobella's.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there are about four different, maybe 5 different restaurants doing pop-ups to feed people.
Great.
And we'll have all our vendors. It's a cool spot to, like, the beer garden has tables to chill out. There are park benches, grass, to chill out. There's space for people to come, look through stuff, maybe make some purchases, and then go hang out and show off what they bought or whatnot.
Cool.
The beer garden will also have some games and some activities. Just hopefully there'll be something for everyone to do, and that's always kind of key. Like, we, in our formula of the records, vintage and handmade, say you're a couple or a couple friends that go down and you don't like records, but they do, but you like vintage, so people can go off and find something for, in their own interests.
Something for their own interests, right? Perfect. That sounds great.
So I think that's it. But we're excited that it's back, and we're looking forward to good weather.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Hope so.
Me too. I agree with both of those statements. All right. Well, again, it's been a pleasure speaking with you both. I'm so happy to see you both, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again on this weekend. All right.
Yeah,
okay. I'll see you Saturday morning.
All right. We'll see you there.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Final Envision is a Psychic Static production. Theme song written and performed by Jeff Robbins of 123 Astro.